Inside this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what it's like to work the night shift, the night watch, as an EMT or paramedic. Let's dive into it. Hey everyone, it's the Paramedic Coach back here with another video. Inside this video, what we're going to be talking about is exactly what it's like to work the night shift. You gotta be more cautious at night. Now I'll explain why in a little bit, so stay tuned to the end of this video for my quick tip. The first thing, like any other shift, as you come in, the first things first, you're gonna come in and check your equipment. That is the first thing. So if you're ALS, as you're a paramedic, you're gonna go through your monitor, your IV supplies, your ALS supplies. As an EMT, what are we gonna do first? Well, we have an ambulance check. We're gonna check our ambulance, check our lights, check our oxygen equipment, right? There's so much equipment packed into this little van ambulance or box ambulance that you may have, or sprinter ambulance that you may have. Airway equipment, suctioning equipment, trauma equipment as well, the stretcher, movements. We have to check all these things, which is the first step. Now it gets interesting. There is no written rule on what happens every time you go to work. You never know what's going to happen when you come on a shift. That's the first thing that I can tell you. And number two, if somebody calls 911 at 2 or 3 in the morning, most of the time it's something that woke them up out of their sleep. Now, while this isn't a rule, it definitely is something to think about with your patients. Wow, they're calling 911 in the middle of the night when they should be sleeping. At night, the other thing that changes as well is your vision of your scene. So you gotta really be aware of your surroundings at night. Also as well, you gotta think about scene protection, right? People are, maybe they're partying, they're intoxicated. There's more, I'd say, illegal activities going on at night as well. For the most part, that is something that you're gonna see on the night shift. You're gonna get, more overdoses. You're gonna get more calls for people that are alcohol overdose. That's where a lot of trauma can go on at night as well. I'd say it can happen anytime, but at night, I've seen in my career the worst car accidents. And again, think about it, drunk driving, right? Most people, if they're out partying, a drunk driving accident might happen at night. I've had some bad car accidents happen at night. So think about it. You need to be very aware of your scene. You need to carry a flashlight. You need to make sure you see everybody on scene. You need to get eye contact with everybody on scene. That's my tip for you as far as a night shift. Now, a lot of this has to do with the on-scene stuff, but what about the actual night in life? What are you doing? Well, that depends on where you're practicing. Now, what's gonna happen during your shift? Well, that is based on where you work. If you're doing a transfer EMS, well, you're still going to be doing your transfers, right? But if you're doing a 911 service, this is where a lot of these things with the scene are definitely going to apply as well. The other thing that I do want to tell you about working the night shift is you need to be prepared and you need to get your body ready for a night shift, for an overnight shift. You have to get mentally sound. So you want to be careful with your schedule, okay? Now you gotta work what you gotta work. And if you're doing it overnight full time, then you're doing it overnight full time. But I want you to be aware of two things: your physical and your mental fitness going into working overnight shifts. You can work overnight shifts and be fine and be very physically fit and mentally sound. But you have to be aware of it and really be on top of it, because it's much easier to get burnt out and much easier to get in trouble with your physical and mental, spiritual health when you're working overnight shifts constantly. So please be aware of that. Now, the final piece I want to talk about as far as a night shift is where are you going to be during the night? Well, that depends again on where you're working. Some places will have bunk rooms, so they'll have places where you can actually sleep. Other places will have a base where there's a common area. There may not be beds, but you'll at least have a common area to be at in smaller places. Now, other places will have full-on kitchens. They're getting a firehouse, kitchens, beds, bunks, full, you could be there for a long time, okay? Now, the final option is where you're posted in the ambulance. So you're literally in the ambulance for the overnight shift. So like literally you're in the 2 front seats of the ambulance posted at night. Now that usually happens in large private EMS companies that are in a very large area, and we posted in different towns throughout the county or the area. My number one tip, and here it is, my bonus tip, my number one tip here is, if you're brand new to EMS, is don't worry about getting the best job in the world when you first start. The first thing is you need to get your experience and become a master of emergency medicine. So if you are an EMT or a paramedic student, down in the description below, I actually have a program that does 3 main things. Number 1, it helps you prep for either EMT or paramedic school. Number 2, it helps you prep for your boards. So if you are studying right now for your National Registry boards, click the link down below and I'll share with you our NREMT Accelerator program. And finally, it will help you pass your school and boards on easy mode if you're in school right now and you want to get ahead. So everyone, I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.